you remember when you first realized that you are part of a family business? Do you remember that moment? Was it a moment or did it come to you gradually?
There's not really like one particular or one specific moment. For me, it was more of a journey, of an experience that my mom has like exposed me to the fact that I am actually part of a family business. In 1992, that was the year that she actually resigned from her position as a government officer. She basically made a decision to invest all her savings into buying a company that she's not familiar with at all. She just decided that it's about time that she saw opportunity that there is a future in security back then, due to the demand, due to the prospect of the future of the industry in Malaysia. So somehow she just decided at the age of like 48, if I'm not mistaken, she just decided that, okay, I'm just going to become an entrepreneur. So at that time, I was still in high school. I was around maybe 14 years old. So of course, it was a bit too young for me to realize about what's going to happen, and all that. But that was the moment that, the family business started as far as our family business journey is concerned. Of course, she could not offer me a job at that time, because I was still studying, But every time during school holidays, for example, or, over the weekend, she would normally ask me to kind of like tag along with her to the office. She would actually assign me with some, simple tasks, like help me to draft some simple letters, help me to do some filing. So it was the exposure at young that I've gotten at that time that I think made me realize that, it's kind of fun. I kind of like being in this family business environment because I get to be with my mom all the time, because I'm like the youngest child in my family. So I'm very close with my mom. So I was like, oh, this is fun. But I guess the moment that formalized, the whole thing is when I actually decided to join the family business when she asked me to help her out on the day of my graduation back in 2000.
So if it hadn't been up to you, so if your mother hadn't needed your help at that stage, like, did you have other aspirations for a career? Like, were you thinking of doing something different? What did you actually have to give up to do this?
I've always been a very ambitious person. Even at school, I was a student leader. I was very active in extracurricular activities. I always wanted to make sure that my CV are worthy enough for me to apply for a job in the corporate sector. So that has always been my ambition, that I wanted to work in the corporate sector, with the multinational companies, travel around the world, so that was the reason why I always studied very hard, and make sure that I don't become complacent just because my family has a business and that could be an opportunity for me to go to after my graduation. I pushed myself very hard because I did my electrical engineering degree at Purdue University in the United States. So that has always been the ambition. My mom knew about that. She even encouraged me to actually do well, in school or at the university. But I guess it was the need, she needed somebody to help her. So I know that it was not an easy question for her to ask me, a sacrifice that she wanted me to make for the family. But I don't really look at it as in a bad way. Like, she needed somebody to assist her in the business, okay? And she already asked my two elder sisters, but none of them were interested. So me being like the youngest child in the family, I guess it's only fair for her to ask me that question. But the decision whether or not I want to join the family business is totally up to me. So it was a sacrifice that I don't really look at it as a sacrifice. It's like a commitment. Whatever decision that I made back then, I never regretted it. The good thing about my mom, she's very open-minded. She's very supportive of me and, of course, the other family members, although they are not part of the family business. She has always been very supportive. And as far as the family business is concerned, when I told her that I think something needs to be done. We need to have a proper structure, And she's like, yes, do whatever you want as long as it's for the good of the family name and the family business.
Tell me about first the relationship between you and your mom and sort of like how it evolved from those early days, and how did you guys manage the work dynamic, and how did you maintain your personal relationship?
She was not the typical aggressive kind of entrepreneur. She actually decided to venture into this business of the need that she actually need to provide for the family due to some personal challenges that she was facing in life at that moment. And she did that because she wanted to make sure there is a bright future for her family. So that was her conviction for starting this business. It's not because, I saw this opportunity and I really wanted to make a lot of money. That was not her core vision or goal for setting up this business. She wanted to make sure there is a business that is profitable and something that she can hand over maybe to the next generation and make sure that we have good life, in the future. So when it comes to leadership style, she's very timid, and very quiet and very low profile. She didn't like to be in the limelight, so she's very motherly. That's how I would describe her leadership style, So she would treat all her staff like her children, So when I joined the business, then I realized that, I'm the aggressive person. So in terms of the relationship, okay, I would like to describe it as, there's a good cop and bad cop kind of like relationship. Most of the staff would go to her to confide in her, to actually ask for assistance, like, madam, I have this, a bit of a problem. Can you help me? And I'm like the kind of person like, oh, okay, you want help? Okay, show me proof that you are in difficulties, something like that, The combination of this character difference between my mom and I are very important so that we can have a more balanced workplace, that is. But at the same time, although we have the difference in terms of leaderships and character, but we both know that we are in the company to serve and to achieve the same goals, okay, which is going to benefit everyone, not just us, but the employees as well. So that is one. And the other thing, something that I wanted to share with you, and I believe most family business owners, especially second generations, or third, would have this problem. I'm sure there will be conflict at the workplace, with your boss. So I could go back to my mom and confide in her about the boss that I didn't like at work, That was one of the culture shock that I had. Like, who can I go to confide in, because I was so used, like I mentioned to you earlier, I was so close to my mom, So everything that happened in my life, I would just go up to her and tell her everything. But once we have become a business partner, there will definitely be conflict in the workplace. So I had to find some contingency plans, So I actually went to my mother-in-law, my parents-in-law, and my husband, just to let some steam off and things like that. But the most important thing, I always wanted to make sure that, yes, there will be some difference in terms of opinions. There will be conflict at the office, but we have to make sure that we have to draw a clear line that this is business and you are still my mom and I'm still your daughter. Let's go back to our home and have a peaceful dinner together. And tomorrow we go back to the office and we continue the argument again.